Hello, ladies and gentlemen, Dodger here. Welcome back to F1 2018 with our Haas career. Currently, we are halfway through the season. Well, just about. There's 21 races in the season, and we're headed to race number 11, which will be at Hockenheim. Our return to Hockenheim, our return to Germany. Looking forward to that one. I remember Hockenheim as being a track that I generally enjoyed. However, it has been a while, and the cars have changed quite a bit. Speaking of car changes, we're looking at the progress history of our team. So this is basically the upgrades for all of the teams, and I just kind of wanted to look at this stuff and see where people have gone. So Williams is still at the bottom, and really hasn't made huge strides there. Toro Rosso is second at the bottom, and Sauber has shot up to the third I don't know, the third worst team, but that actually kind of mirrors what's been going on in real F1. Sauber has really been performing very well. What has not been happening is what we see there with McLaren. McLaren taking a big move forward towards Force India, towards Renault. Yeah, that really hasn't been happening. Force India and Renault are very close. That has been happening. Our team, Haas, has been making huge strides, and actually, it looks like we've pretty well gapped ourselves from that midfield, and in fact we have more upgrades coming. And then the front three are extremely close, but a pretty sizable distance away. So, let me now look back at the R&D progress. So, you can see here, we have three things. If you look at the little purple, magenta, and then the cyan, and then the green, you can see that we have three upgrades in the pipeline that should be pushing us even closer to that front three if they don't do huge upgrades in the not too distant future. I think that's about it for things I wanted to look at. I did get some other stuff started. Here's where our contract's sitting, and yeah, that pretty much covers the behind the scenes bit of the series. And yeah, that will do it. Let's head to Germany, and I'm looking forward to getting refamiliarized with the place. Also, just a quick word about the workings of the series. I've been mentioning that I've been adjusting the AI driver level. We started this series, I believe, at 86 or 87, somewhere around there, and we've currently worked our way up to 92. I've seen some people say, you know, maybe you should be at 95 to 100. I'm not so willing to go that far, because as you move this AI driver level, it also changes the practice programs, and it changes some other things in the game that I'm not particularly happy about. I'm getting closer to, I think, where we're in a good place there. I would really like to lock this down soon, though. I'd like to set this difficulty somewhere and leave it there. I'm tired of, you know, trying to adjust the AI to match our performance, because our car's performance keeps getting better. My performance will get better, or this, you know, my performance will be worse. The AI will be unbalanced at a track. There's so many different factors. I like to just lock it down somewhere. So 92 may be where we lock it down. We will see. I hope to make that decision within the next couple of weeks here.
I know we were expecting some new developments this weekend, but some of them have failed quality control. Make sure you indicate what you'd like redeveloped via the workstation.
You know, they've been making a lot of mistakes there in the R&D department lately. Hey, can you look at the attached goal information, please? Sure. What do they want? Score 32 championship points in the next 2 weeks. Target hard. I would say that's a hard target. Yeah, that means... Boy, that means at least a podium, if not 2 podiums. It's what, 15 points? That's a mighty big task. And that's kind of the stuff I mean. That's kind of the other stuff that is at play when you start messing with the AI levels. It's not just the AI levels, it's all the other things attached to the career that change in difficulty with that. For this week, we have more power. We have the engine power upgrade thanks to the oil pump, and a gearbox wear improvement. Unfortunately, the tire wear failed. The heave dampers. That's right, the heave dampers. That's not a fun thing to say. Well, that is what it is, and you can see that still we're trending upwards and away from that mid-pack. I'm really looking to see our teammate make some improvements. They did just do another patch to the game, and they did specifically say that they tried to fix the teammate performance in the career in dealing with the upgrades to the car. Apparently there was still issues where the teammate was not properly getting the upgrades to the car. So that was a thing, and we'll see if that improves. Let's see here. Anything else? Oh, I do need to then 6 and restart the chassis one, which I should have plenty of points to do, and it'll be ready for next week, most likely, so not a big deal there. Not a big deal. I have 680 points. That's not enough, I think, to start another one of these. Oh, it is. Oh. Well, let's go ahead and go for that then. ERS cooling, energy recovery system, or engine power, oil combustion. Let's go for power. Yeah, let's do it.
Guten Tag and welcome to Hockenheim, home of the German Grand Prix, for today's practice session.
Ha 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 ha. What an intro. What an intro. Hey, camera is way off position.
Carl about the new part.
Hold on. There we go. Oh, I'm sorry, Jeff. Did I interrupt you? Did you not get to finish your statement? I'm so sorry. I feel just terrible. Okay, so I think I'm gonna need some pretty extensive practice time today to get reacquainted with this track, and we'll start with the track acclimatization. Alright, Hockenheim. Let's see what you got. Oh yes, I do remember how very, very narrow this stadium section of the track is. It'll take me a little while. I highly doubt that I will... Oh, what is this brake bias set to? Oh, that's pretty good. Just gotta readjust to everything here. Yeah, it's been a little while since I've done anything with Hockenheim, so it's probably going to take me more than a lap or two to get used to it, and I'm sure I won't complete this program right out of the gate. But we did race here even as recent ago as I think the 2014 series with Kurt, so it's not been ages, and the track hasn't changed since then. The track has changed since I first started getting into Formula One. It used to be a very amazing track, super fast and through the woods, big track, and just, you know, something that I thought was, oops, that was too slow, that I thought was always kind of one of the more epic stops on the F1 calendar. But the new version, unfortunately, like most tracks, a lot of the tracks, it's been... Ooh, we haven't had any of those in a while. Look at all the friendly frame hangs. Thanks for that game. I missed them. Oh man. But yeah, the track's just a little bit reduced from its former glory, but it's still pretty decent, I would say. It's just not maybe what I would call amazing anymore.
That's looking good. Now let's try for purple. You'll get a bonus for consistency.
Oh, man. I gotta learn that.
Together.
I gotta learn that first turn. Something on the car is very clicky. They might have to do some parts changes this week. It might be our practice gearbox. I don't know if I've changed that in a while. Okay. Trying to make a little bit more of this lap make sense. I must say, I still find that this program isn't particularly useful for actually learning the track. I don't know what it is about it, but I think really what it is, and really what would help it, is if it gave you some kind of indication of estimated speed, an estimated time of arrival even, something like that. More so than just, oh buddy, another hang-up right there. I wonder if there's something wrong with the track, and that there's like too many polys right there or something. And that's pretty significant, 2 times in a row in the same place. Let's hope that's not an issue. Let's hope that that's just something that's coincidental, happened 2 times in a row. Alright, I'm gonna give this one more try. I'm using a pretty experimental setup that I think might not be working too well for me either.
This is the last lap of the program. Final lap of the program.
Still too wide through turn 1. It just feels like I don't have any front grip through there. I have to do a lot of learning for this place. Still probably... Nope! Oh, man. See, those are just silly, in my opinion. I'm looking so much further down the track than those things were that I didn't even realize they were there, I guess. I don't know. Not gonna worry about it. As long as I just kind of keep doing things at my own pace and keep working through the programs, I usually end up learning the track, regardless of what this particular program ends up saying or behaving like. Oh, there's another hang up there, though. That might be something we just deal with for this entire race weekend. This section of the track is very narrow for reasons I don't fully understand. Oh, Ricardo just... Okay, hi. He just drove around us right there.
Alright, that's the program complete.
That's
This
it.
is some decent data, although far from optimal. It could still be worth running again.
You're far from optimal. The game's running far from optimal. The setup feels far from optimal. I think I got some work to do. Alright, we are out on track now in practice session number 2. I had to skip a lot of practice 1. We had the control electronics in the car pretty much give out. They were at like 85% wear. It was a really high number, I don't remember what it was. And I decided to replace that and our practice gearbox. So now we're out here in practice 2, trying to do a qualifying run. I'm getting a pretty good handle on the track now. The DRS zones are a little bit weird. I'm honestly struggling to remember where they are, because they're a bit hard to hear over the car, because the car is so strung out here. See what we can do with a qualifying run. I'm getting more hang-ups here than we've had at any track in the past, like, 3 weeks, but trying to make the most of it. Hello, birds. Are you causing the hang-up? This turn is probably the one I've struggled with the second most. We're coming up to the one that I struggle with the most, and that is this one that turns us into the stadium. You see how blind the entry is? And then the exit closes down a lot. That was probably the best I've done it. But we're here on these ultra soft tires now, and it's feeling a lot better on these than it was on any of the other tires, as you would expect. That was a little bit of a washout there. It's probably cost us maybe 3/4 tenths.
Good
But
lap.
still,
We've hit our primary target time. We're
there's a
happy with
primary
that.
target of 5th. Okay, that ain't too shabby. Ain't too shabby at all. Yeah. I feel a little skatey around the track though yet. I don't think I'm particularly ecstatic with the way it feels at the moment. Trying to let Magnussen by here. Come on. Come on. Come on. I think he's on a qualifying lap. Or maybe he just did his and he's also on a cooldown lap. Either way, this feels okay. Just a little bit skatey in some sections. I'm probably going to do some work in between qualifying and the race, maybe, to try and get the game running a little better. Actually, I should do it after the practice sessions before qualifying, because that's going to annoy me in qualifying too. See what we can muster up with that. Not that there's a lot I can do, but just make sure I have as much computing power as possible. Okay, yeah, that's... See, even going at reduced pace, I think that's the turn that's going to be tricky for us this weekend. I imagine when you get distracted in the race, it's going to be even more difficult. I would like to go look at the weather and see what things are going to be like. I want to get a practice to get into pit road. Okay, that's a little bit of a tough one. Looks like we're going to have some rain in qualifying, at least at the end. So we're going to start in the dry and go to the rain. And then, oof, perhaps the same for the
Our
race.
best lap so far is
Yikes.
a 1 minute 15.0.
That's going to be very interesting. I don't know what to make of that. Out here for the race strategy. program. Try and get a good feel for tire wear and fuel usage and all that good stuff. I feel like our tire wear is going to be pretty aggressive here. I also feel like I really don't like the harder compounds. I'm much more a fan of the softer compounds. The Ultra Soft's the only time I've really felt like the car was really hooked up here. On these tires and the harder tires, the mediums, not so good. Not so good. So while we've got a bit of time here, how about some discussion about the real F1 happenings of the week? So it's official that, as we all knew, Lewis Hamilton champion once again. Pretty much, I mean, it had already been solidified that he will go down in history as one of the all-time greats. But this really cements that legacy for sure.
DRS is offline. The rear wing is down, so you can stay out while we work on a fix.
That didn't help me at all.
Okay, you weren't quite good enough that lap. Try again.
You know what, Jeff?
There is a fault to the DRS. You won't be able to open the rear wing. We're working on a fix. Stay out.
Well, I mean, I pretty much can't do this program without it working, so screw that. Alright, just a quick jaunt here as we go around track and discuss what I was discussing. Yes, Hamilton is indeed champion again. So very disappointing that we didn't get that season-long epic battle between him and Vettel like we wanted. However, the races at the end of the season have been a little bit more interesting, as it seems like all three teams have kind of worked out their cars, and it seems like maybe they're a little bit closer in competition. Red Bull has certainly shown a lot of speed at the end of the season, but then again there's a bunch of tracks that we kind of knew that their car would be good at. It was a really good drive from Verstappen. For as young as he is, he's still winning the race as the youngest driver in F1. Oh no! Pay attention to the road cone. I knew that turn was going to be a problem for me. Yeah, he at this point, when he wins the race, he is still the youngest. Like, he has a lot of career ahead of him and a lot of maturing to do yet, so he'll be a major threat someday, I'm sure. But, yeah, major good drive from him there. I'm just gonna pull in. There's no sense in this if they're not gonna fix the car. Yeah, so that's been interesting to watch, but more heartbreak for Honey Badger, as we like to call him. More heartbreak there, and I don't even know what to say. He didn't know what to say. I don't know what to say. It's pretty unbelievable that he can have that many issues with a car in one season. And I guess I can just hope that things are going to be better for him with Renault next season. I really don't look for it to happen, but I really don't think it would have been better with Red Bull Honda either. I don't see that being revolutionary for the team. Yeah, no kidding that there's a problem with the systems. Alright, well...
We've had to spend time repairing the damage to the car.
Damage? Damage? You're the one that... you know what, game? You know what? I'm gonna go do this race strategy when they fix the car, and then we'll go qualify. Frustrated now. Frustrated. So this is how things are looking for qualifying in the race weather-wise. Looks like it's gonna be maybe a dry Q1, but that's it. And then just getting more and more rain as we go. It's already been a pretty frustrating practice for me. I'm a little bit worried about what the place is gonna be like in the rain. I'm just struggling to feel comfortable in the car, which is not a great feeling around a place as fast as this. We'll see how this goes as we head to qualifying, and really shouldn't have any issues with pace as long as we can do okay in the rain, but I don't know what to expect in the rain. So looking at the weather, it looks like we only got about 5 to 10 minutes of dry track here, so I need to get on track immediately. Though honestly, I usually do that anyway. I usually want to be on track first, which isn't terribly different than how I am even in autocross. I'd like to be on track early, because we usually have run groups. I want to be in the first group, because... Ooh, it's already a little slippery out here. Yikes. What was I going to say? Oh yeah, the run groups. I get myself psyched up for it, you know, I'm all amped up, ready to go. And it stinks if you're going like second or third run group because you gotta wait around all day before you can actually make your runs. Same thing kind of goes for these qualifying sessions. Session starts, I want to go. I'm ready. I got myself all ready for it. I don't want to sit there and wait before I go out. Very much so the opposite of how they actually do it in F1. But that's why they're paid to be multi-million-dollar F1 drivers, and I'm just a guy on the internet. I'm worried about these hang-ups as it's going to transition to rain. You can see that the sprinkles have started. I'm going to watch for the grip levels through the last couple turns. I've already struggled quite a bit down here in the stadium section. Very significant drizzlage there. It's a scientific term, significant drizzlage. It's actually derived from Starbucks. I don't go to Starbucks. Okay, 114.8, that should be good enough. I don't think the track's going to get any better, it's only going to get worse. Probably roll with that. Still tricksy. Curious to see if there's any back markers that make their way into Q2 thanks to the conditions. There was a patch note actually that I was right in thinking there was something wrong with the AI and they weren't getting their second runs in Q3. And it did read basically as I predicted, where the AI was not giving itself enough time to get on track and start their lap before the session ended. So, oh man, that was a big hang-up. So hopefully those issues are resolved and the AI begin being more competitive in Q3 again. Let me get out of the way of this Toro Rosso. Well, there you have it, exactly as I predicted. Kind of a weird Q1. Bottas, Alonso, Red, Ocon, Vettel, Perez, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Ericsson, and Van Dorn, top 10. So whoever got out there first got their good runs in. Guess who didn't get a run in? Yep, Hamilton did not get a run in before it rained, and he got himself knocked out. So good job. Good job. The rest of them are pretty much the norm, but that's the big one. Alright, well, on to Q2. Now to see what it's like to race here in the rain. It's a pretty steady rain, but it's not ridiculous. I think the rain gets harder as we go, so it's probably time to get out there now. Debating putting a little front wing on it. I'm gonna get these words out. I'm debating putting a little front wing on it, but the car was oversteering to begin with, and we are on full wet tires, so that doesn't seem like a great idea.
Take it easy to start with. The track's wet.
I have eyes and could see that, but thank you. I'm gonna drive out so I can get a feel for it here. We haven't really had a rain race in a good bit that I can remember, so I do want to get my bearings here. Let's see what it's like. Of course, being early in the session means there's not going to be as much of a dry line, but with so few cars on track, it's unlikely that a dry lane is going to really work itself in too much at all. Okay. Save that battery power. Although in the rain, you don't usually use very much of it anyway. Let's break it like the 150 instead of the 100. Yeah, maybe even earlier than that. This is going to be tricksy. Yeah, I don't know what to expect. I vaguely remember it raining pretty often here when this track used to be in the game as well. Perhaps this is a particularly rainy part of the world. If anything, the dry lane there kind of steered me through that turn, but I still managed to go off track. One thing that I do notice is it's very hard to figure out where the track is, especially when you miss 30 frames like that, because the track and the grass actually look very much so the same shade. Let's see how we do. Of course, we're not going to have a time to go up against. No grip down there. Whew. I don't feel super confident about this at all. It is bad out here. It is really bad. I am not good in the rain. That is a fact. Maybe that's why I'm so bad at drifting. I tried drifting once in my life, and I don't think I was very good at it. Maybe that's why I'm not so good in the rain, or maybe I just don't do good in low grip. Right? It's tough because I just have no basis of how fast I should be going, and if I'm running anywhere near competitive speed at the moment. That turns hard all the time. It's ridiculously hard in the rain. I've been following that Force India behind us, and I do believe he's closed in on me quite a bit over the course of the lap. Which tells me I got pace to get, and there was a big moment. So whatever we do, we know there's a half-second in it there. Okay, now I at least have a delta to go against, but boy, this is treacherous. And it's not going to get any better. Other than that, I can assure you, it's going to get worse by the forecast. I think the delta will help. It gives me some kind of basis of how I'm doing and how fast I should be pushing. Interestingly, the entry speeds of the turns slow up with your reduced speed in the rain, and therefore your braking zones don't move as much as you might expect. You get so much less speed down the straightaway that you don't move your braking zones as much as I think I was fearing I would need to. Follow there. Okay, still walk out in the grass. Wasn't a huge moment, actually. It kind of straightened itself back up, but time was lost. Alright, we know there was a bunch of time in the last turn. Trying to get on the brakes without locking the fronts. For that update, Jeff. Big improvement there. To fourth. We could potentially use this lap if we need to. The tires are only going to get worse, but they're wet rain tires. Wet rain. You know, the wet rain, as opposed to the dry rain. They're wet tires, they're not going to wear too much in these conditions. But it doesn't look like this one's going to be any better. I meant just to ride out the storm here and see where we land. I'll probably track the progress of the field and see if conditions do improve, but I don't see it happening. Unless maybe there is a little bit more of a dry lane forming. That was a save. What's annoying is it looked like my car was tracking perfectly straight the whole time and I was just reacting to nothing. But trust me, this car was violently wanting to spin out. It is still violently wanting to spin out. Well, not great. We ended up 9th. It got closer than I wanted it to, but 9th gets us through the next one. I don't feel too good about the rain here. I don't feel too good about my skills in the rain here. How about Hülkenberg there, grabbing the top of Q2 by quite a bit. I don't know what exactly he did to do that, but he done did it. Let's go to Q3. Q3, I'm going to do the opposite of what I just did. I'm going to let other cars go on track, try to dry out a little bit of a line for me, and see if that gets us a better time. Alright, there's been other cars on track. It is still torrentially downpouring though, so I can't imagine that they're doing too much to dry up this track. It's going to be wet. It's going to be pretty much the same for everybody all the time, I think. unless the rain happened to let up, which doesn't look like it's going to in any reasonable interval. So I'm gonna try and get a sensible lap in here first, and then try for a fast lap on the second one. What I managed to do is actually go out on track right when everybody stopped running, right when they pulled in from their first runs. I don't know if that's going to give me enough time to do 2 runs, but at least I'm on track alone and after everybody tried it off. However, with rain of this nature, I can't imagine a dry lane would stay at all without a bunch of cars on track, so that may have been fruitless. But we'll see what we can do. A little bit of a lift there, since we know what happened to us in Q2 right there. A little bit out of line. One of the things that you fight in real life in the rain that you don't seem to fight too much in these games is the greasiness of the track. A lot of the times you actually want to stay away from the dry lane, and you want to stay away from the racing line mostly, because that is where most of the rubber is on the track, and when you combine the rubber with the rain, a lot of like oils and stuff leach out, and it becomes weird. It becomes a slippery point of the track. I don't know exactly the science of it, if it's the rubber from the tires or just oils from the asphalt, but it's something that happens. But then the dry lane kind of overcomes that, wherever the dry lane forms on track, that's where you want to be, no matter what part of the track that happens to be at. And a lot of times it happens to be at the apex. A little bit slow right now, but not terribly. I think there was time to make up on the second half of the lap. I'm going to try and hold it flat through here and see what happens. I'll probably wimp out. Oh, I turned in too early. Got myself out of the groove a bit too in doing so. But I got back to the gas a lot better out of there. And here as well. It didn't give me much, but it gave me something. Yikes! I don't know that I have a lot left in me if this wasn't good enough for much. But anywhere in top 10 is going to be a fine qualifying result for us in these conditions, I think. Lost a bit at the last turn. That's only enough for 7th. I may try for a 3rd lap.
Someone's just posted a faster time. You've been dropped to the 4th row, P7.
We'll see. We'll see if anything magical happens on this 3rd lap. Kinda have my doubts. That slip out of there is going to hurt us down the straightaway. That mode actually helps us in the 8th here. Trying to hit this apex here, and I missed it, and I dropped down the neutral, which killed me, because the car stopped rotating. That may have just ruined our lap. We may be starting 10th, judging by how things look right now. We only had one set of wets to use, so I don't have a new set to throw on there. So, I guess that's it for us. Not a great qualifying day. We'll see where we end up.
So qualifying is complete and we're all set for an exciting race tomorrow. Your top 3 are Vettel, Bottas and Kimi Räikkönen. The grid is set then, so that just leaves the race itself. Join us tomorrow, where we'll be live with all the action. And until then, it's goodbye.
Is that the first time we've been out-qualified this season? Could be. Could be 5th and 8th. I'm not, like, heartbroken out of 8th, but it certainly was a tough one. If it was dry conditions, I think this would have been a much different story, but I'm a little bit worried about what this race is going to be like, since it likely will rain at the end of the race. We'll see how that goes. Let's advance and see if there's an interview. We haven't had any interviews this weekend. Whew. Yep.
Good day today. Tell us about it from your perspective.
That was not that great of a day for me, actually.
How does a car perform in these conditions? Is it an advantage or a disadvantage?
Racing the different skill set. Sticks a minute and barely noticed the rain.
Your qualifying pace didn't put you at the front of the grid. Will this
Must
be a problem
tomorrow? Car lasts. Definitely, but what can I do for making the best of a bad situation? Yeah, no comment on that one.
Well, thanks anyway.
Oh, come on, I answered most of your questions. Jerk. Give me that lip. Okay, well, that was practice and qualifying. It's been rough. Hopefully the game acts okay for the race, and hopefully I can keep things clean. I don't have much else to say if this is an advanced interview. But, yeah, stay tuned for what could be one of the most interesting mid-pack battles that we've had so far. Oh yeah, we're gonna lose a bunch of points here to our rivalries. Although, actually, I didn't because I had better laps than them. Because we did better in Q1. Suck it! Alright, everybody, see you tomorrow for the race.